Yo, what's going on people? It's your boy Huncho, back at you again with another video. Now, if you follow me over on my Instagram, then you'll know that recently I shared an update which we're about to get into today, which I did cover on the channel a short while ago. If you don't follow me on my Instagram, by the way, it's Huncho. I'm always posting daily on there, whether it be drill, street or music updates, and I post random stuff on there, so you should definitely drop me a follow if you haven't yet. But if you haven't seen the update and you've read the title of this video and you're still confused about what's going on, I'll catch you guys up with everything. But if you want to see the previous coverage in depth, then be sure to check my previous video out, which I will leave linked down in the description below. So on the 19th of August 2020, police were called to Elmstead Road shortly after 7:30 PM to reports of a disturbance. When they arrived at the scene, they found 3 victims by the name of Harinder Kumar, Malik Singh Dhillon and Narinder Singh Labaya, and they were all unfortunately pronounced dead at the scene. Police would go on to arrest 29-year-old Gurjeet Singh, and eventually he would go on to be charged with possessing an offensive weapon in a public place, which he would be remanded over. So the most recent news that's come out over this incident is that it was believed that Gurjeet Singh was the knife man who killed these 3 men, but the first time in British history he's the first person to have gone on to murder 3 people but walked free on grounds of self-defense. And you might be asking yourself, well, how did this even happen? Well, recently it was heard in court that a group of attackers made up largely of unskilled labourers had gotten into a dispute with Gurjeet over an outstanding debt. A family source would go on to reveal that this was over a business deal. It was said the night before the murders a community event was held at a venue, and this is where the disagreement was said to have happened. On the night of the murders, the 3 who were Sikh men were with 2 more Sikh men, and they had seen Gurjeet at a Gurdwara in Ilford. The attackers waited for Gurjeet to leave the Gurdwara, and then a confrontation happened where Gurjeet was chased and eventually was boxed in. A vicious fight was said to have broken out, which involved weapons, which resulted in the deaths of 3 of the men, and a 4th man was also attacked, but he would go on to survive. All that's being said at this current time is that weapons were involved, which included knives and a hammer, and with the group being Sikhs, it could be believed that they were carrying a kirpan, which is a knife that Sikhs are allowed to carry on them for religious reasons. In the UK, by the way, you are allowed to carry a kirpan as long as you have a valid reason to. Again, it isn't confirmed that these were the knives used, but it definitely could be the case. In the attack, Gurjeet, who was being chased by the group, was also said to have sustained cuts to his head, forehead, and he had a crush injury to his head, which is believed to have come from that hammer. So recently, no charges of murder or manslaughter were brought against him, and he was cleared of the possession of an offensive weapons charge, so he basically has recently just gone on to beat the case. But because he had overstayed his time in the UK, he'll now be getting deported back to his home country. On top of this, the other 2 were in the group, the one survivor, and there was a man who was the getaway driver. They were recently jailed for their involvement in the attack against Gurjeet. 29-year-old Sandeep Singh, who had been in the UK illegally after overstaying his visa, was jailed in August for 4.5 years for wounding with intent in relation to the attack against Gurjeet, and he's to be deported after being released from jail. His brother Harpreet Singh, who had acted as the getaway driver, he also overstayed his visa, and he was recently jailed for 12 months for the same offence, and he's also to be deported upon release from jail. So a pretty crazy turn of events in this case, something that the UK has never seen before. Of course, we do have self-defence laws in the UK, but what I find somewhat crazy is that Gurjeet would go on to murder 3 people, of course, in self-defence. He nearly murders the 4th man, then he goes on to beat the case, and then for that 4th man who survived the attack and the getaway driver who were a part of that group who tried to attack Gurjeet, for them to then be put in prison is absolutely crazy to say the least. But yeah, I do want to take this time out just to say rest in peace to these 3 young men, and my condolences are with their families at this very sad time. But let me know what you guys think of this in the comment section below. What's your guys' whole opinion on this story? I personally think that it's pretty crazy to say the least, like I previously said. Give the video a little like, and if you want the latest drill, street and music news out of the UK, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. It's been your boy Huncho, and I'm out.